Good evening, everyone. We are going to get started. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for tonight's masterclass. I got in How Do I Choose? And so I am excited to be here with all of you from the class of 2023. The clock is ticking, it's moving fast, time is going fast, there's no going back. Our seniors have almost made it to the finish line. And so tonight's masterclass will give you a little bit of clarity on how do I make the final decision? So we have a few high schools here, Representative McNamara, School Without Walls, DeMatha, and Elizabeth Seton. They are called the Road Runners. So welcome to all of you this evening. I am Regina Robinson. I am the CEO of Student for Success College Planning Services, where we have been helping students and families successfully win the game of college admissions for the last 15 plus years. We have helped students gain over $25 million in scholarships and grants, and that number continues to rise. And so good evening to each and every one of you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to get started right away on our masterclass for tonight. And so I want to just make sure I ask this ahead of time. Can you see my screen? If you can see, yes, awesome. So wanted to make sure I didn't get started and get talking and you guys can't actually see the screen. So welcome again. And we are ready to rock and roll. So I got in How Do I Choose Masterclass. We're going to jump right in, I believe, in maximizing your time and my time. So I want to make sure you get everything you came for. It says, meet Regina Robinson. You can see all the accolades. Those things are all just accolades there. I am a graduate of Bowie State University. Go Bulldogs. I'm actually repping them tonight. And for my undergraduate degree, and then I am a graduate from Georgetown University for my master's degree. Go Hoyers. And so if we have any Bulldogs or Hoyers in the building, put it in the chat and let me hear some roo-rah for both teams. And so thank you so much for being here. I am a former high school educator. I taught high school student at Frederick Douglass High School, Dr. Henry Wise High School, Duke Ellington School of the Arts High School, and I am a former college professor at Trinity Washington University. But I don't do any of those hats anymore, and I am America's #1 college admissions advocate for our high school students who are ready to navigate through the college admissions process successfully. So of course, you can go to my bio and read all the great things about me, but tonight is all about you and your child and how to choose on what college they can call home for the next 4 years. So what's the first and foremost most important thing is you've already been accepted. So the next thing is, what is a financial aid award letter? Most of you are like, okay, I keep hearing people say this, or you've already started receiving them, but let's break down what that is. Students that submit a free application for federal student aid receives a financial aid award letter. Once they receive that financial aid award letter, it breaks down the cost of school, the fees of schools, the tuition, the room and board, all of those things. So it also gives you the amount of what you're going to get for your student in aid, whether it's scholarships, grants, or don't overlook it, loans. They are also included on that financial aid award letter. Financial aid award letters are usually sent the same time as college acceptances for some schools, not all, and then the remaining schools send theirs later. Now, some of them send them via email, but some of them also send them via mail. Some of them also upload them in a portal. But let's break down what a financial aid award letter looks like and how you can navigate reading it. I think that is the most important thing for parents to leave tonight, because I don't want you to overlook what's free money and what's money you got to pay back. I want to make sure you're clear on both sides. So we're going to just take an example that was found on Nitro College. And so they gave an overview of a school's cost. And so we're going to go through each level so that you know how to have a consensus of how to read your award letters. So it tells you tuition and fees for this particular school. They said the estimated cost of attendance is $38,400. You might want to have your calculators handy, right? So you can run these numbers. Tuition and fees is $24,500. They are saying that the student's room and board will cost them $9,400. Now, parents, let me hip you to something. That room and board is the basic room and board. If your daughter or your son is trying to do the upgraded version, it will not be what's on the standard letter for room and board. So you will need to add a little bit, a couple of more $1,000 for the advanced type dorms. So if they're trying to say, oh, mom and dad, I don't want to have a roommate, that's going to cost them more. Oh, mom and dad, I want to be in the suite styles, that's going to cost them more. So it will not be the basic room and board. Then you have books, materials, and supplies, which is estimated $1,000. Now we know it could cost a little bit more for them books, or it could be a little bit less. Shop accordingly for books. You can find them on Amazon, you can rent them, you can do all of those things. So you want to try and find them the best way, the most affordable way. If it's just basic classes and it's not in their major, rent them and then return them. You get a much cheaper price, right? Personal travel and miscellaneous, $2,000. Now, for some of you whose child is thinking of going 6, 7, 8 hours away, which is not a drive away, then you know you might want to add a little bit more to the $2,000 personal travel and miscellaneous, because those plane tickets can be expensive. Computer, $1,500. They're saying, oh, estimated if your child doesn't already have a MacBook or any type of computer, you want to make sure they have some form of a computer to bring with them to school. So they're saying an average of about $1,500. Some college campuses give you a computer. So that's all about doing your research to see what's going to be your return on your investment, right? For what a particular school is going to give you. All of those things are key. All of those things are also important when you're trying to make a decision on where you are planning to go, okay? We want to make sure that when you're looking at this, some of these are all estimated, including room and board, according to if you pick an upgraded dorm, right? So you want to make sure that's all important and you looking and evaluating the cost. Now, remember, every college breaks it down by fall and by spring. So don't get caught up in thinking it's all for the year when you're looking, because they're going by semester. So here's where you're looking. They said the student would be assigned a federal Perkins loan of $1,000 in the fall, $1,000 in the spring, to equal $2,000 total for the year. They would get a subsidized loan of $3,500 for the year. They would get an unsubsidized loan of $2,000 for a year. Now let's go back and let's break these two down. What is a subsidized loan? A subsidized loan does not accrue interest the entire time your child is in college. The loan does not start accruing interest until 6 months after they graduate, and immediately that interest is tacked on and your child needs to start repayment. An unsubsidized loan accrues interest the entire time your child is in school from the first day that they borrow it. So here's what I always advise to my parents. If you have an unsubsidized loan on your award letter and you have $2,000 sitting somewhere in a bank account that's just sitting there, that maybe is in savings, pull it and use it, as opposed to owing back all of that money on that interest, unless, here's the second rule, you pay the interest, parents, while your children are in school. That way the loan is not accruing interest the entire time because you are paying the interest. So those are two options of getting ready to unsubsidize. I know everybody thinks that loans are a bad thing. For some people, they are a necessary thing. And so if you're going to borrow, borrow smart, borrow efficiently, and don't overborrow. The school scholarship for this particular student, academic-wise, is $7,500 each semester, giving them a total of $15,000. Now we're in all the money that does not need to be repaid. They're getting a federal Pell Grant of $1,000, another federal supplemental educational opportunity grant for $1,000, a state scholarship for $900, and federal work study for $3,000. Let's break down what all of these mean. The school scholarship is $15,000. It does not change year after year unless, you notice I paused, unless your child drops academic standing. And it does change. It will wipe out if they drop below academic standing. So it's not guaranteed. It's only guaranteed if you maintain the GPA requirement of that institution. Federal Pell Grant federal supplemental educational opportunity grant, state scholarship can also change. So parents, if for some reason your income drastically changes one year to the next, there is a possibility that you could no longer qualify for what? Those grants, because your income is now too much. So those are reasons, and those are things that you have to be conscious of when you are looking at your award letter. So they are telling you all of these numbers equal to 28,400. So some students might look at this and say, oh my gosh, mom, my school is only 3840. I'm getting 2840. So all you owe is $10,000. Contrary to belief, that's not how you want to look at this. You owe $10,000 if you're okay with borrowing this borrowed money in loans, right? And then you want to look at not just financing your child's education for year one, but for all 4 years. You might owe $10,000 year one with these borrowed loans. What happens if any of these other areas shift? Then you have to be willing to be prepared. But then keep in mind, these two line items here will shift also. Year two, they will go higher. Year three, they will go even higher. And year four, they will go even more higher. So that changes your $10,000 balance as well. So I wanted to spend quite a bit of time on this, breaking this down, and then we're going to go even further. So estimated cost of attendance was $38,400, right? And it broke down these items. This is an estimated cost of what your school assumes you would need to spend money on, not your actual yearly cost. That could be higher, that could be a little bit lower. This includes the cost of tuition, room supplies, transportation, and computer. The cost of everything on this list varies. You can choose to commute or stay in the dorm, and the cost of your dorm, as I said, will vary in cost by size. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this estimated cost. Now let's talk more about the breakdown of this. I told you $17,900 in grants and scholarships, money you don't have to pay back. That's this section only, parents. That is equal to the $17,900. $3,000 in federal work study. That is a part of that line item, right? No, wait, 15, 16, 17. No, wait, let me break that. Let me go back, because I know some of you is like, no, wait. 17,900 is only the grants and scholarships. So line 1, 2, 3, 4, we stop. 17,900. Why do I have the work study separated from this? Because I said it was free money you didn't have to pay back, because there is a clause to work study. You have to seek a work study job on your own when you get to campus. Your kid has to find that job, and then it is not given to you. So the money is given to your child. Your child then has to put that money on their account if they're going to use it to go towards their tuition and cost. If they just spend it, then you'll get an email or a letter in the mail saying you owe $3,000, because you were accounting for $3,000 for the year that never made it to your account because your child was getting work study and they were using their checks. So you need to make sure you find out what's the stipulation at your child's college. Do they pay them the work study and then the child needs to put it back on their account, or is it automatically accounted for and it goes to their tuition? You must know that, and you must find that out so that you don't end up with a positive $3,000 balance that you now have to struggle to come up with at the last minute. So please be mindful of that line item. $7,500 in federal student loans, which is this section here, but that is money you all have to pay back if you decide to take out loans. Every school year, you have to submit a FAFSA. So for those of you who have already submitted your FAFSA for your child, every year for the next 3 years, you must submit a FAFSA on October 1st when it opens. Please do not procrastinate. That is how your child will get back to this point to receive their money. If you do not complete a FAFSA, all of this wipes out immediately. And you go back to that 38,000 on your own if you forget and do not complete a FAFSA. If this was all connected to your FAFSA, okay? The only thing that's not connected to your FAFSA is this one line item, which is the school scholarship. Everything else is connected to your FAFSA. So please don't forget to do it every single year. And remember, your FAFSA will change and shift your financial aid award letter. So if this year your child is a senior in high school, October 1st, you did it. Let's just use this number as an example. Let's say you made $50,000 in this year. Next year, when it's time for your child to get ready to go into their sophomore year, but during October in their freshman year is when the FAFSA is due for their sophomore year, and you now make $100,000 because you took on this new job. You know your financial aid award letter is going to shift a little because of your increase in income. So things will change based off of your income. So please always keep that in mind. Now, I know you're saying, well, how's my students' tuition broken up? Once we go through the award letter and I see and I agree and I understand and I accept or don't accept, how is the tuition broken up? There are several ways at every college campus. You can either pay in full, parents. So if the balance was $10,000, like when we were looking at that, let's just say it was a $10,000 balance, and you're going to say, okay, to the school, I'm going to pay you $10,000. That $10,000 is going to be due. Or you're going to say, I need a 10 payment plan if the school offers it. They will divide that 10,000 into 10 payments and you pay them 1,000. Now here's the caveat of that. Some schools charge a fee for the monthly payment plan and some do not. Some schools do not offer a 10 payment plan and they only offer maybe a 2 or 3 or 5 payment plan. It is up to the school. So that is a part of your research over this next week to find out what is their payment plan. So you're well aware of that, because for some of you that changes your financial outlook on which school you will make the choice for. Remember, I just said file the FAFSA every year on October 1st. Now, if you decide to take any of those loans where you saw the Perkins, the subsidized and the unsubsidized, you must sign your loan promissory note. Do not forget. If you miss that, you will not have that loan, and then now you have a deficit in your balance. So please, 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 please make sure you don't forget to do the interview and do your signed promissory note, okay? Now, one other thing, and if you guys went to college, you remember, like I remember, that you get those refund checks, right? How many of you remember getting those refund checks when you were in college? And so your kid is going to get that check. And so they have never seen probably a check that big at one time. And they can just go ahead and cash it if you have not already made it clear. See, I'm a mom of a college junior, and I made it clear before she walked in the door freshman year that any refund check is not a refund to you. It is a check that goes into the account for the next year just in case it's necessary. But you do not get to spend that money. Thank gosh we've never had to use, but she has gotten a refund check every year because her tuition has always been fully paid for. So my daughter is a junior and we have paid zero balance for freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year. And we plan to keep it that way for senior year as well. So those refund checks, parents might give it to her for life after college, but we'll see about that. But anyway, you want to make sure those refund checks, your kids know that they are not to spend, they are to send it home in the mail to you, because they will give it to your student. So please keep that in mind. Next, here's a fact. Only 7% of admitted students, 7%, that is a low number, ask their college for additional funding. How many of you know if you don't ask, you'll never receive? And so here's what I'm saying to each and every one of you. Am I saying that you're guaranteed to get some more money? No, but what I'm saying is you won't know if you never ask. And so why not ask for a little bit more? And let me tell you how potent that is. I can remember when my daughter was about to go to school for freshman year, and we were $1,100, where they said that's what we were going to have to pay for. I don't know about y'all, but I called and asked. I said, well, that's $1,100 I ain't got, because I still got to pay for books. I still got to get her there. I still got to buy toiletries and get her dorm set up. Can you figure out where there's another scholarship or some extra money lingering somewhere? We're in a crisis. She was going during COVID. We're in a crisis. So that $1,100, I'm sure you can help us find from somewhere. Sure enough, her admissions counselor found the $1,100. So parents, you got to ask, or they will never offer it. Now, if I never asked, they would not have given us that $1,100. They would have just assumed we could pay it and we would have just had to pay it. 7% of admitted students, 7% ask their college for additional funding. Make sure you're a part of that 7%. Don't be the percent that don't ask for anything and you never knew you could have gotten some more money. Another question is, how are student loans processed? I'm sure that's one of your questions. Borrowing limits for dependent students. The loan amount for freshman year will be $5,500. And the origination fee is $58, which then will proceed to $5,442. They might have tweaked that just a little bit, but first year, your kids are only allowed to get $5,500. Second year, $6,500. And some kids don't qualify for the whole $5,500 either. So you see, it says up to $3,500 in subsidized, up to $2,000 in unsubsidized, which is what that student had on the other screen. Second year up to, remember I said every year the money increases. So second year is $6,500, and then third and final year is $7,500. Now, what's ways that kids can get a little bit more if you want them to borrow under their name is if the parent tries to apply for a Parent Plus loan and they are denied, a kid can get additional money. But that is only if a parent is denied the Parent Plus loan, will a kid be able to get additional funding. How many credits should my student take freshman year? Answer, 15 credits maximum. And here's why: minimum of 12 credits for your financial aid. Colleges will allow your children to register for as many credits as they want. My mentees are always grateful, and they say, Ms. Robinson, I'm so happy you only let us apply and you told us the minimum that we should apply for credits and don't go over this number, because a lot of my peers had all these classes, they were overwhelmed, overloaded, and they were unsuccessful freshman year. High school and college are two different things. There is a transitional period that our babies need to experience, and overwhelming themselves with a bunch of college credits up front is a setup for disaster. 12 credits allows you to hold your financial aid. You can start with 12 credits and then increase to 15 credits second semester. But first semester, if you can help it, 12 credits. You might have to go a little over because some of these classes are 1 credit or 4 credits, but you don't want to go over 15 credits. Please, parents, do not allow your children to be registering for 17 and 18 and 21 credits in their first semester of college. If so, 9 times out of 10, they coming home because they would have flunked out because they're overwhelmed and they can't handle the workload. So please help them to manage and watch the schedule that these advisors are setting for them and helping them to set. Most of the time, they're not helping them. They're telling them you need classes in these sections. The children are going and registering for those classes, and they're overloading themselves because they don't realize they're overloading themselves. They just want to know that they want to get all the classes as possible because that's what they're used to in high school. They got to take all of these classes in high school, but high school and college are two different things. 12 credits to hold your financial aid. What's the best way to communicate with my students' college? Well, there are a number of ways you can communicate with your student's college, but you want to find the best way for you, and that's important. And so when you do that, you want to make sure that you take time to, first and foremost, put in a FERPA form. A FERPA form allows you access to be able to communicate with your student's college on your student's behalf. However, it's important your student learns how to advocate for themselves as well. But parents, if you do not have a FERPA form on file, they will not talk to you. So please don't allow that to be optional for your children, because after all, they can't go to college without you. And so you need to make that non-negotiable for them to fill out that FERPA form and you to sign it. Remember, the college won't do anything or talk to you without it. Once they sign everything to commit to that school and you have not done the FERPA part as well, then you have no access. So please, although we're the ones paying, because I can hear you saying that now, Ms. Robinson, I'm the one paying the bill. That don't make a difference if you don't have the FERPA on file. So please make sure you put a FERPA on file. What's the best way for my students to maximize their freshman year? Get acclimated to your school. Find study partners in every single class. That is key. I always tell my Student for Success Shining Star mentees, a buddy in every single class, and not a buddy who doesn't come to class, or a buddy who sits in the back of the class, or a buddy who doesn't even turn in their own work. You want to scope out the first two classes to see who seems really smart, who's raising their hand, who's asking questions, who's coming to class, who's sitting up front, who's there on time. That's the class buddy for you, because then you know they're going to be of support to you and not a hindrance to you. Getting involved in college, but maintain balance. It's okay to do activities. It's okay to dibble and dabble with a little bit of parties, but make sure you have one goal in mind, and that is that you are there for your education and you are there to get in and out in 4 years. Or if you're in a 5-year program, you are in and ready to get out in a 5-year program. Acknowledge that college is not high school. So please recognize that college is not the same thing as high school. It is going to be rigorous. You are on your own. Your parents are not there to wake you up. Your parents are not there to convince you to go to class. And so it is a mental thing that you have to decide that's non-negotiable to be successful. So keep that in mind, students, when you are there so that you can be successful. College is not somewhere you go just to survive. It is an opportunity for you to thrive and become the greatest version of yourself. Make that experience the best experience. What's the best way to ensure my student thrives academically in college? Let's talk about that. Study groups, class buddy. We talked about the class buddy, but let's get even more intense with study groups. Please, students, study groups are important if you need it. Study groups are important for when you're doing class group projects. Study groups are important for you to get notes from other students. That's also why class buddy is important, because you can compare notes. Sometimes you miss things or you didn't think this was important, and in fact it was. You just kind of missed it in the notes. So you want to make sure that you have your class buddy, but you want to also make sure you show up for those study groups. Visiting your professor office hours. Here's the deal. As a former professor, I'm giving you insight. We're not going to beg you to come see us in our office. We do have office hours. But if you're on the bridge of pass or fail and you never, ever came to my office hours, I promise you, you're going to be on the failing side. Okay, so that would be your portion to do, to go to your college professor during their office hours. That's important. That's key. That is crucial. If you don't, what I say, if you don't come see us, we won't come see you. And so you want to always make sure you introduce yourself to your professor. Don't be just a number in the classroom. Don't be that person that never shows up and speaks up. Let your voice be heard in your class so that the professor knows you and they recognize you. That's important. And then last but not least, tutoring/writing lab. Utilize the services before you fail, not after. Students, freshman year, and once you get acclimated, you can make the choice from there. Freshman year, you should make it non-negotiable to go to tutoring and the writing lab. I can hear some of you saying, but Ms. Robinson, I get all A's on my English papers. That's fine. That's high school English papers. This is college. And your high school teachers are looking that you follow the rubric. Your college professor is looking that you can write, is looking that you can use word sentence, that you have good word usage, sentence structure. And so you don't want to get a F and have to recover from that when you could have gone to the writing lab and got an A. I don't know about you, but I'll take an A over an F any day. So please, tutoring in the writing lab is important in order for you to thrive in college. Study groups, class buddy, and visiting your professor office hours. Get to know your professors. Self-advocate for yourself with your professors. As a former professor, I don't know any other professor who just wants a student to fail. So hold them accountable. That is your right, and you own that right because you pay tuition. What's left, seniors? You need to, now that you have gotten all your decision letters, once you decide where you're going May 1st, what's left? You need to send a letter to all the schools that you decide you are not going to attend. Thank them for accepting you. Thank them for the opportunity and let them know you were grateful, because guess what? Let's say you start off at one school, right? I told you I graduated from Bowie State University. I started off at Delaware State University and did 2 years of college there. So you need to actually, what happens if you now need to go back to somewhere, right? So Bowie State had accepted me in the beginning, but I went to Delaware State, then turned around and wind up graduating from Bowie State. So you want to make sure you send, I wish only then back then I knew about writing a decline letter. I didn't, but it worked. But nowadays things are different, decades later different, right? So send a decline letter. You never know if you're going to start somewhere and then, but by the end, finish somewhere else. That decline letter looks good. It shows them that they can go ahead and open up a new spot. Another way is your college online portal. A lot of schools are communicating via an online portal. You need to find out how your schools are going to communicate with you. Once you say yes and you make a deposit, it's imperative that you have access to the portal and your new college email. When my daughter was about to go to college, we kept on saying, well, where is everything at? So they had this portal, but they had not sent it out to the incoming freshmen yet. So we called her admissions counselor, was like, look, we need to know what's next. She goes, oh, have you been in your portal? I'm like, what portal? Y'all didn't say anything out about a portal, the email or the link to register for the portal. She says, oh my God, I'm going to tell the admissions they need to get the email portal out, right? Everything was in this portal. Not only that, she had an email she was assigned through the portal, and it was full of emails with next steps. So parents, please check, students, please check your portal, check your assigned email for that college and university that you are choosing. Finalize any paperwork that's necessary that they require of you. Most importantly, your health forms. Everyone has to get health forms done and turn it into your college. Also, if you need to find out if your college requires testing, and then you need to ask, what is that? Do you do that virtually, or do you have to do that testing in person? You want to make sure you're clear about that as well. So you want to make sure you find out about those different things so that you're on top of finalizing all paperwork. We got two more. Social media. Make sure you're following your school on social media. Make sure you're in the social media feed for your grade level, and then the overall social media feed for your college or university. If they say that, I know most of the students don't hang out on Facebook, but that's where a lot of the group communities that the colleges create for your grade level is on Facebook. And that's where it all goes down. So you need to create a Facebook account if that's what your school says, that's where they're going to put all the class of 2023 cohort at. Then you want to make sure you're there because you don't want to miss out on any important announcements. So social media is big during this time because colleges use it. Final transcript. Colleges will not accept you 100% until they have received a final transcript from your high school. So once you walk across that stage, make sure you don't forget. I know you have been waiting for this moment for far too long, but don't forget to let your guidance counselor know where you have decided to call home for 4 years so that they can get your transcript out immediately so that your school can receive it. So those are the things that's left for you at this time. I want to have an opportunity to bring on two of my shining stars. One first, the second one is actually doing what we talked about, and that is scheduling classes for next semester, the fall semester. So she is in the midst of her appointment with her college advisor. So we're going to go and let Shania come off a mute and share. Shania is, as you can see, a class of 2022 graduate. She was a Student for Success Shining Star. Shania got accepted to Hood, Townsend, Salisbury, Trinity, and Notre Dame, equaling up to $542,060 in scholarships and grants. The money is out there, parents. I promise you it is. And so Shania decided to attend Hood College, where I'll say, and I know she will reiterate it, where we made sure she pays $0 to attend Hood College. So Shania, I will let you come off of mute, come on camera, and speak to the community that we have here this evening.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shania Phillips, and I've been with Ms. Robinson since, I believe, my 12th grade year of high school. Yeah, that was an interesting time. With Miss Robinson, she has given me like the world's best support system when it comes to college, because Initially, when I thought I was going to go to college, I was on my own. I'm still on my own in some aspects, but I'm a very codependent person, and I'm learning to take on the independent part of life very strongly, thanks to Miss Robinson. Um, Having a mentor in college is probably the best thing ever, because if you don't have contact with your admissions counselor, you can always go to Miss Robinson. And I mean, it could be the littlest thing. I think the other day I told her about my job, like a potential summer job interview that I had, and that was like the littlest thing. And sometimes I text her about just being happy on campus, and she's just always there for you. If you need to get a little bit of motivation, there's always the daily dose that she posts every day in the group chat. And I'm telling you, this morning, I did not want to go to class. I had an 8:15 a.m. class. I did not want to go, but just reading back on those messages of inspiration has just like given me enough drive to just go to class every day and just do my best. Um, I would definitely recommend everyone having a college mentor. Um, if you don't know who to contact, Miss Robinson is definitely going to help you out with that. She's going to give you suggestions of who to contact. You make sure you have those contact informations of every person in your school. And this is definitely going to include your admissions counselor. Like, your admission counselor is also your second best friend when it comes to college. Um, let's see. I am forever thankful for Miss Robinson for making my first year free, like a full scholarship for my first year. It was a bit of a struggle, and she helped me and my grandmother advocate for ourselves with the school, and lo and behold, by the power of God, they were like, okay, we got you covered. Your scholarships cover everything. And the school actually gave me a couple scholarships to where 50% of my tuition is paid. And always keep those scholarships because you can renew them every year. I would definitely say this is my second semester. My first semester, it was not the best. And that is okay to not have a good semester. This is a lesson to everybody. Please just reach out if you need help. I did not do that. I didn't contact Ms. Robinson at all. I was in a mental state where I did not want to be. And here I am, my second semester, and I'm back on my feet. I'm where I need to be. I have my internships ready. I have a potential major that I'm ready to declare in my second year of college. And it's definitely thanks to Miss Robinson for teaching me how to advocate for myself and showing me the ropes of, no one teaches you how to be a college student. You are self-taught. If you don't wake up in the morning, that is on you. Your professors do not care. They do not care if you don't show up to class. But what they do care is that you try your best, you go to the office hours like she suggested, and if you need help, go to a tutoring center. For my English class, my first paper, it was a B, but I went to the writing center and I found out that my writing comprehension is about it's about a high school level. That's not where I want to be. So every paper I do, I just go to the writing center. It's free tutors for every subject. They're there to help you. If you do not go out and help yourself, they will not help you. But yeah, that's my experience with Ms. Robinson, and I'm forever grateful for her help.
Yes. And so I literally met Shania at the end, like towards the middle end of her junior year. So it was junior year, and she stayed with me throughout. And so she's now in my college transition mentor program, which is for graduating seniors into college. And so some of what she was saying, so this morning, I usually, and the craziest thing is, Shania, it must have been for you. And so I usually don't get up to like 9 and then send them the daily dose. But this morning I sent it out at 7:44. And so it was before her 8 o'clock class, which came out really well. Didn't know why I was sending it so early, but I did. And so I was like, oh, I don't want to wake them up. But I said, you know what? Let me just send it anyway. So what she's saying is the kids who are in my mentor program get a daily dose, which is a text message from me. And so today's daily dose, just to share with the group and everybody on here, was don't focus on what's going wrong. Focus on all that is going right. You owe it to yourself to stay positive. Have an awesome day. And so sometimes that's just all they need, is that little button, or that little message or that little encouragement that they can't muster up in themselves. And as their mentor, I'm there to be that muster up for them when they can't. That's not something a college advisor on campus is going to do. Like she said, you barely see those people until, like Taylor is with right now, her college advisor, simply to schedule her classes. But she's not been with her ever before prior to scheduling her classes. So the College Transition Mentor Program is for students to be able to have access, to have mentorship, and to have that necessary, so that anytime they need anything, like Shania is saying. So to her, she felt like texting me and saying her internship was possible was a little thing. But for me, I wanted to know that that was a great thing. Not every kid get offers an internship freshman year. So that is big. That's big, that not only did she apply and think about it, but that she even put herself in position for it. That's growth for Shania. So when I read her text, I'm smiling ear to ear as a mentor, but she thinks it's a small thing. But Shania, one thing I want you to share with them is all about, briefly, is the roommate thing. And you don't have to get in deep, but just the roommate of not being able to pick your roommate, but then being able to speak up about your roommate and how to advocate for yourself, because all of these students are getting ready to make their choice and then choose. And then some of them could have the option of not randomly choosing and being very selective in choosing. And I think some of you sharing briefly about that will help them to know what decision to make in the roommate part.
Okay. I will say my roommate experience was not the best, but if you're just struggling with your roommate, if you're an introvert like me, I will literally sit there and let the problem accumulate. Do not do that. You have resident assistants or your RAs. Message them. If your roommate is doing something that bothers you and you are too scared to confront them, just message your RA. They will handle it for you. But when picking your rooms, when you sign your food and housing contract, one, I will say, if you are struggling with your mental health, please go get a therapist, because they will definitely help you out with the room situation. If you're like me, I constantly ignore it. But if you have some form of like mental health thing going on, the college is more than happy to accommodate you with a single dorm or find you a room that's going to fit you. But if you do not do that, which is okay, it's not for everyone, make sure that you pick your room early. You do not get to pick the room number or the building number or the floor. I mean, you don't really get to pick the floor. It's random. It is a random lottery is
Yeah.
what they call it here on campus. It is a lottery. So 9 times out of 10, you'll be put with someone you do not like living around, but it is up to you to advocate for yourself, to say, hey, this isn't working, and be picky with your roommate contract, because that contract means that if either of you break one of your rules, it becomes an issue with the RA. And if it becomes an issue consecutively, then they will have to move you and put you in a different room, and you will have to start that process all over again. But it is up to the school on what building they put you in, your room number, your roommate, and the floor number. So
Absolutely.
that is a whole experience in itself.
Absolutely. And so what about some of your classes, like as far as academic level or the rigor of some of your classes and helping them to understand how college is not like high school. What would you
Right.
share with them to give insight on that?
So I recommend, and I believe you said that you told us this last year, take your core classes, but only take at least 14 credits because that is 4 to 5 or 3 classes
Mhm.
per semester. And you do need to talk to your college advisor too, because that's what I'm doing, and I will have to take like an extra semester for my major. But besides the point, just take at least 14 credits. I suggest you get your English out of the way because your first year of English, most of the time is usually grammar heavy. And if you don't have a specific book, like for me, I need to have a book about MLA, grammar, APA, and
Mhm.
all of that. I forgot it. I'm striving without it, but your English professor is definitely going to be picky about everything you write. So I do not care if you said that you had an A or a B in English, go to the writing center, please. Just go. Do not be like me and find out that your writing level is in a high school level and you're in college. That's a little embarrassing. Just go to the writing center. They're there to help you. It's free and unlimited. I'm pretty sure you do not have to pay for this, but it could be different for
No.
universities. But for me, it's free. You could send it in at like 12 in the morning. They got you by like 7 a.m. Just make sure you do that and you get your books. Science classes are very heavy because you have labs, and do not go to your science and your labs. If you go to one and not the other, you will fail and have to repeat the class. And then on your transcript, it's going to say that you failed. And a little advice, if you know you're failing a class, most universities and college have a drop deadline. I did this from a history class. Get it in like a couple weeks before, especially if you know your professor is the one to wait an entire month to put in grades. Don't risk it. Just cancel the exam, meet with your advisor. If you can't get a hold of your advisor, go to the next level because they will get them for you. But
Yeah.
yeah, my classes are pretty light as of right now. And my first year seminar is all about student success. So it's definitely helping me with stress management, scheduling when to do my work, and having enough time to decompress.
Absolutely. And you said something really important, Shania, and that is mental health at college. And mental health is not contrary to the stigma, it is not a bad thing. When you get to college, again, it is a transitional period. It is a unknown and unfamiliar territory. And so being able to protect your peace, protect your mental health is key. And college campuses have counseling services on their campus. Some of the services are free. More advanced services might cost depending on the college, but you want to utilize that services before something happens. And so it's key for you to advocate, it's key for you to speak up, never be afraid to share what you're feeling or going through with your parents or with someone, and because it will help you. And so by the time when Shania shared what she shared, when she had an incident at her school, we had time to fix everything. But had she continued to hold on to her voice and not share, then it could have led to us not being able to fix everything. So the good thing, we were able to fix everything. She didn't lose any of her financial aid. She was able to regroup. We were able to get her back at her school and in a private room with just herself, so she doesn't have a roommate. But these are things that are there's a necessary for advocating. So when I'm mentoring the kids, I'm not just their surface mentor. I'm in the trenches. I'm making the calls to the schools. We had conference calls with her college advisors at the school because I'm holding them accountable. Because 9 times out of 10, they're banking on families not necessarily knowing the ins and out. And Shania will tell you, I was like on the phone reading them like, listen, these are the rules. You're not going to try and tell us. We know these are the rules, right? And so it's about having that opportunity to advocate, because I didn't want to see her go from being a non-paid student, meaning she does not have to pay anything, to all of a sudden they try to shift her to becoming a full pay student. No student wants to do that, because that changes where you could be placed or where you can be successful. So the goal is having someone there to advocate, but most importantly, you have to be willing to speak up. You have to be willing to share what it is that you're feeling and what it is that you're going through. And I was happy that Shania got to a place to feel and understand and accept that I was her safe space, and that she could be safe enough to share whatever it was that she was feeling.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Shania. You can hang around with us a little bit more if you want. So Taylor was our other student who was going to be on and share about her experience. Taylor is a freshman at Howard University, so she's a bison if we got any HUs in here. But Taylor is still in her scheduling, so we're going to keep moving so that we can make sure we move through the presentation. So if you're interested in learning more about the college transition program, I am going to drop the link. I'm going to first show you the website where you can go. If everyone can see my screen, I hope you can see my screen. If someone would say yay, raise your hand and say yes, we can see your screen, or come off mute and say we can see your screen. This is can you see the screen? Because I hear someone off mute.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So here is our college transition program. It outlines everything the students receive as college students throughout their time with us. They are with us as many years as they desire. So some are with us for freshman year, some are with us all the way through their senior year. It depends on the student. Some of them feel like they evolve after freshman year. Some of them keep going because they're like, no, absolutely not. I've not evolved. So some of them have been with me freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. So it's totally up to the students when they come in to the program. It is totally up to them. How long they stay in the college transition program. So you can scroll, you can see testimonials from some of the students. You can also see everything that is included. It's 10-month program. They start in August because that's when they go to college. They end in May each year because that's when they end each year in college. So it's August through May. It's a 10-month mentorship, and it's pay in full. You get almost a month free when you pay in full. If you do the monthly payments, it's $102 a month. All of these things that you see here is included in their mentorship. Again, as you heard Shania say, they are able to reach out to me for anything that they need me for during that time. I've helped kids write emails to professors, advocate to professors, go to their admissions advisors, change their schedules. One of my students went to college for 4 years. She graduated in 3 because we created that schedule with her advisors from day one of her going to college. So there's so many facets of the College Mentor Program. And so again, you can click this website and get more details about it. I'm going to put the website in the feed, in the chat, but we wanted to make sure we show parents that you are not alone, and students that you are not alone, that we are here to support you. We are here to help you navigate through these waters of the unexpected as you travel through the college experience. So I'm going to get to the next screen. And of course, the next screen just simply says what I just said, that you are not alone. And here is the opportunity for you to ask any questions you have now that are lingering about the college, about you making your final decision, knowing that May 1st, which is around the corner, is National Signing Day. Do you have to wait to May 1st? No. But if you want to wait to May 1st, you can. You don't have to feel pressured. But if you have 100% made your decision and you know where you want to go, you can commit before May 1st. What does May 1st mean? These are my final tips to you. What does May 1st mean? May 1st just means you get the cream of the crop. You want the best of the best dorms. Otherwise, the later you put your information in and make your deposit, because May 1st comes with a deposit. The longer you wait to commit and put your deposit, you know that there's selective of dorms remaining. Every college almost has a not so nice freshman dorm. And so that's really what that means. So you want to get your money in your deposit and your decision in, but don't feel pressured if you have not made a decision and you are just not sure how to make a decision. You can also book what I call a make a decision session with me and your family. And we go through all of your award letters, we go through all of your information, and we try to decide and we weigh the pros and cons of what's going to be the best choice for you and your family. That is what me and all of my students are doing and families are doing right now. This week and next week, we are weighing all the pros and cons of every financial aid award letter. We are picking it apart. We are picking apart the pros and cons for each school so that they can have the opportunity to make the best decision. But my ultimate goal is that each and every student find a place they can call home for 4 years, not so that they can survive, but so they can thrive. That is our ultimate goal for every student. So any questions? I'm checking the chat to see if I missed any questions, but any questions, now is the time for you to come off mute or type in the chat any question that you have that is still lingering. Our system asks when you submitted if you had questions. For some reason, it malfunctioned and it didn't allow us to capture those questions. So please, if you had submitted a question and I did not answer it during this masterclass, no question is a dumb question. Please come off of mute and get your question answered so that we can make sure you have the information you need, or simply type it in the chat. I did put the link for the College Transition Mentor Program inside the chat for you to be able to access and review that as well. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? My name is Yvette Collins.
Hi.
I'm a mother of a senior. She has three top three colleges. She's like a scholar. She does so much stuff. However, this year, I thought I had it right. You know, having her do so much in the community. I mean, she's won all these awards, and everything has not panned out the way we thought it was going to pan out far as her receiving funding. So right now we're having some anxiety and some stress. And we've been applying for scholarships and everything like that. My concern is, or what I want to know is, she was accepted into the scholar program for Spelman. Spelman didn't offer her any funding. She was accepted to Howard. Howard offered her funding, and her other school is Maryland. The only reason why she will be going to two of the schools is because her number one school is Spelman. Mm-hmm. Can you commit to more than one school and lose your deposit? My fear is that we'll lose our spot. However, we know we can only go to one school, mm-hmm. and we're praying and believing that some funding is going to come in from a scholarship. We just don't know. So I don't know what to do, what move to make to secure her spot, or I'm just lost. I don't know what to do because I mean, I feel like she sacrificed being a teenager to be this scholar and doing all this stuff. And now it's like, what did we do wrong?
So, okay, can I be extra honest with you? Do I have your approval for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you were one of my Shining Star families, my advice to you would be, if Spelman gave no money, they're not going to change that. So for 4 straight years, that means they're going to expect you to pay full tuition or whatever they are not offering to you. Okay. So then you have to say on the other side of that, if you have other, I don't know about, you didn't say whether Howard was putting any money on. I think you said Howard and then I think you said Maryland. You didn't say if either one of
Howard did give her money.
Okay.
So her problem with Howard is the stories that she's heard with Howard is the fear of her wanting to make the commitment with Howard.
Okay. So then again, so Spelman is 0, right?
Right.
And I'm just using dummy numbers. Let's just use the dummy numbers for tonight. So Spelman is 0, Howard is 10, meaning the money they're giving. Howard is 10, College Park, is it College Park?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. College Park, let's just say 10. So now you're looking at 10, 10, or 0. And that's 0 for 4 years. And so let's just say Spelman is 48. I'm just making that up. They're probably not that expensive, but let's use 50 as a roundabout number. We know there's not 50, but let's just say 50. 50 times 4 is 200,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say Howard is 40, but now they're minus 10, they're 30. 30 times 4 is 120. College Park, let's say they're 40, minus 10, they're 30. 30 times 4 is 120. Got 120, 120, and 200. I know she
Mm-hmm.
loves Spelman, but 200 is a lot of debt. And 200 is debt that completely falls on you, as opposed to, because remember, you saw the breakdown. She can get $5,500 in loans. The rest of that 40 minus the 5,500 is you borrowing that money. And the
Okay.
loan is 100% in your name, nothing attached to her at all. It is 100% your responsibility. And so
Okay.
that, let's just say that loan is, let's just go with 35 now. 35,000 you're borrowing times 4.
Okay.
And so, but I know she loves Spelman, but she can pencil back and possibly see Spelman in grad school. And maybe her job is going to pay for Spelman for graduate school because she's got out of college and she's, but what happens is you can put a deposit down for 2 schools. Just know that 95% of the schools have a non-refundable deposit stipulation for their May 1st deposit. But you can then put a deposit and then go back and say later that you are not going to do it. And then pick the other school that you did make the deposit at. Now, in an ethical realm of reality, is that something that is necessarily right to do? It's not completely wrong, but it's not completely right, because what about the student named Tiffany that we don't know, who wanted Spelman, but she couldn't get Spelman because you put a deposit at Spelman, knowing that most likely things weren't going to turn around. So that spot is now not available, but Tiffany has the money for Spelman, but she can't get in because you took that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are just different, scenarios for you to think about. But here's the ultimate of what I will say to my parents. This is debt that you will take on. All 3 of the schools she mentioned are amazing schools. All 3 of the schools should have never been on her list unless she loved them all just as the same. That if one said no and the other said yes, if one had less money and the other had more money, she would take that opportunity. So now she just has to understand that I know Spelman is where she loves, but Spelman is not reachable when it comes to affordability, especially if you have another child coming behind her.
Okay.
So I know that hurts. Tell her I know
Yeah.
that stings a lot, but I promise her the 4 years is the experience. You heard Shania say it. It is the experience that you create at college that will make the experience your college experience. So we always have our kids get so caught up on, oh, it's this school, is it going to be great? It's going to be this, it's going to be that. Where it's about you going where you want to major in, and you creating the experience that you want to experience at college. That could be done at every college. You create the experience. And so, honey, I know you're listening in the background. I know this stings, but you have to be willing to say, okay, you know what? I don't want to be in a lifetime of debt, because college loans are a lifetime of debt. And I don't want my mother to be in a lifetime of debt. And this is for any parent. This is not for Miss Yvette. Your 401k, your equity in your home, and a GoFundMe, and a wish you were going to get money is not a way to educate your child, because year 2, everybody might not want to fund you. Year 3, the wish and the prayer for the scholarship might not come through. And that means you are now paying full tuition out of pocket, or you are then in the middle of it feeling like a bad parent because you got to bring your child back home. So remember, I said, don't just prepare to pay for 1 year, prepare to pay for all 4 years. And every year college cost increases. So although I said 40 times, the 50 times 4 gave you the 200, what happens when the tuition goes up higher that second year, that third year, and that fourth year? And what happens if that scholarship that comes through this year is a non-renewable scholarship and it's only for year 1, and now year 2, year 3, year 4, you got to pay out of pocket? We have to think from those terms. You said I could be honest, Ms. Chavez.
You
So I
what?
just
You
wanted to
look,
be honest.
look, and it just so happened she did come down here, so she did hear the comments. Hold on, let me see. How can I? Okay, can you see me?
Yes,
I'm
I can
dark.
see you.
Oh, she did come down, so she did hear that. I just, we all want the best. We want them to go where their dream school is.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I'm having restless nights trying to make this happen. And I think I just feel guilty because, just like what your role in all of this is trying to make sure that they prepared, right? So I just feel guilty because I did everything I could to make sure that she was able to achieve, and money would be just dropping in her lap, and that just didn't pan out. And I don't know, if it was our essays or what, so it's just hard because I honestly feel like she gave up being like the average, not average, but a regular teenager. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's been on the news, she's been doing so much. And so that's my heart's like, I don't want to go into debt. So,
Absolutely.
you know what
And
I'm
so
saying? I
here's
don't want to, that's not what I want to do,
absolutely.
to
So
give
from a
her that.
parent to
Like
a
I'm giving it back to her.
absolutely. So from a parent to a
I'm the-
parent, because remember, I have a college junior. So from a parent to a parent, release the guilt, because that wasn't your guilt. That's not, so she did nothing wrong. She had a great she had a great high school experience. She became probably a better leader. She became a better scholar. She became a more well-rounded young woman. And all of those things are preparation for who she's going to become as a young college woman and a young college student. So that part is not a failure at all. Everything she got during her high school experience was a part of her journey. She needs to embrace all of those things and prepare them and package them for when she go off to her college. So maybe she can become an asset to her college community, that if there is any scholarships out there available as time passes, she'll be the first in the running because she's positioned herself to show that she can actually do it. So please release the guilt as a parent, because what you did was want to make sure your daughter was the best scholar that she could be academically, most importantly, that she could be as a student. You could never, and no parent on here could ever control how much a school was going to give you in scholarship money or in financial aid money. So that part is out of your control. So that alone can release you from the guilt, because you were never able to control what they were going to be able to get. Here's what I need every parent to understand. This is no longer a level playing field in the college admissions process. It is competitive now more than ever. So a 4.0 student 10 years ago was amazing. A 4.0 student today is average. So do not feel guilty that your child, and for the students, do not feel guilty, because if you're a 4.0 student, or if you're a 3.5 student, you did the best that you could do. It was just unfortunate that somebody else comes from another high school that has a whole bunch of inflated AP and honors courses that they enrolled in, and now their GPA is above yours, or they're coming from another country that's on a totally different academic GPA scale than the United States. So they're outranking you. So it's no longer a leveling playing field. So there's no room for guilt. There is only room for saying, I went through high school and I did my very best. You have no regrets. Pick the school that best feels like home for you, but most importantly, that you are not going to go into debt, that you are not going to be possibly in jeopardy of losing your home, and that you are not going to feel strapped every single night, that you can't even sleep comfortably because you made a decision that in the second round you will regret because you still can't afford it. God is not setting us up for that type of failure or that type of disappointment. So please, mom, release the guilt, and any other mother on here or father who is feeling that guilt. Our students, we love them, and sometimes they love things that we just can't give them, but it does not mean we don't love them. And it does not mean we don't have their best interests at heart. It just means that we are trying to prepare them for life after 4 years in college, because there is life after that. And if we allow them to borrow all this debt, they come out of college and they can't get a job that sustains the debt that they have accrued, we then have set them up for failure.
Wow. Okay, that was well said and needed to hear. I couldn't ask for a better opportunity to be at the table with you today. It was meant for me to be here. So thank you, God, for allowing. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name because I came
Regina.
in after you did the introduction.
Regina,
Thank you.
yes.
God, that I was meant to be on this call tonight. So that was from God to me and to the rest of the parents that was here.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Oh, you're
That
welcome.
makes sense.
You're welcome. So I'm just looking through the chat, parents, to see if you had questions. Carolyn Soloria said, New U University. Miss Soloria, is that where your child is picking, New U University? If so, congratulations. Eli,
Oh,
go
Miss
ahead.
Regina, oh no, I joined the call. And I invited Miss Yvette to the call tonight. So I've been following you for a while, and I have your book. So I'm in DC. I have a student who's class of 2025, but I always stick around and hear advice. I was just sharing it for the parents who are on the fence about college and whether they should move forward. It's a new college, and it's a credit college in DC, and they graduate the students within 3 years versus 4, and it's affordable. You can pay out your pocket. So I was just sharing information.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And then Eli Teresa, how do I find out the contingency / requirements that comes with a scholarship? I was planning on talking with a college counselor from this school. So if you are looking into the contingencies of a scholarship, so most scholarships don't have contingencies. They only have a GPA requirement. That would be the contingency for that particular school. So if they were offered merit aid, it's assigned to a GPA. And so whatever that GPA is, that is what they would need to maintain in order to carry that scholarship on. Ms. Britt said, I needed to hear this. Absolutely, Ms. Britt. Ms. Ivory gave claps. Ms. Rosa said, someone else said, what's the chance of getting a scholarship when transferring in the second year, same as the first year? When you are a transfer student, there is limited and there is a stipulation and contingency, but it does not mean that you don't get any money. So each school has a GPA requirement that you can come in for, and then they offer academic scholarships. So that is a possibility as well. Any other questions? Please come off mute. Can you explain direct and indirect costs on the award letter? So the direct cost means it does not change for that year. Let me be clear about that. It does not change for that year. Indirect cost means it's fluctuating because you could be, again, in a regular dorm or you could be in an advanced dorm. In an advanced dorm, it will cost more money. And so, but in a regular dorm, it will be that standard amount that the school charges. The reason why the indirect has like a computer, well, you might already have a computer, so that's $1,500. You wouldn't have that as an expense. Another indirect could be books. So they just tell you the budget high for books, but you might not spend nearly that amount of money because remember, we're going to rent and give back for some of the books. So that's going to save you some costs. So that's what direct and indirect means specifically. Any other questions? Any other questions from any other parents or students? Please, students, if you're in the background with your parents, any questions that you have as well. I was trying to get the my student for the students on here who are considering Howard. it's not somehow letting her get into the Zoom. So I was trying to see if I can grab her to call in on the phone, and I'll put her on speaker and she can talk because she would have insight about Howard, because I know we have a few students. So if I can get every parent, so we have about 20 parents, if you can drop in the chat, what schools are your children considering? Let's see some of the schools in the feed. What schools are your children considering as their top choices? How much typically, when you go back to ask for more money, do institutions typically provide? It is a difference at every school. You know, they're not going to turn around and provide like $10,000 and $20,000. No, most likely, absolutely not. But if you're like maybe $2,000 or $3,000 short and you're already giving a certain amount, then you might say, look, if I had at least $3,000 more, I could possibly make this work. Does that make sense? And so that's where you're kind of, when you call, know what you need. Don't call with an ask that you are not sure of. When you call to ask, you need to be very specific. So if there's a $10,000 balance and you know affordability wise, you can only afford maybe 7, then you need to be asking the school for 3. That would help to bring you within range of being able to afford the remaining 7. And so you want to be able to make sure you are very clear on what it is that you're asking for. Don't just call and say, oh, I want to know if you give more money. They're going to be like, no. But you have to call and say, look, I got my award letter, my daughter's received or son received their award letter. This is their top choice. They just cannot see themselves going anywhere else. But with the cost being a balance of my award letter says it's going to be $10,000. I just know 10,000 is conducively. I just can't do 10,000 every year. Is there any additional scholarships or money that the school has somewhere that they can help some more so that we can get to where she needs to be so she can be a student at your school, he or she? One student is Micah and Townsend, great choices. University of Miami, James Madison and CUA, UNC Charlotte, Xavier and Canisius. It's hard to pronounce, but okay, great ones. Do you know anything about the Promise program? I am certain about a few HBCUs in North Carolina that are offering this. I am not. The Promise program, I believe, is a program that offers money for students to give them. Is it the in-state money that they are giving them? Ms. Henson, not sure, but is that what it possibly is, where they are giving them, allowing them to attend, even if they don't live in the state of North Carolina, but to get North Carolina in-state tuition? Is that what the Promise program is? That's about all that I know that it could possibly be. But if it's something else, by all means, you can share it with us if you would like.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, let me I have something else going on. I know there's a couple of there's a few HBCUs in North Carolina that's offering it. It's called the North Carolina Promise Program, and it's a discounted tuition for both in-state and out-of-state. I know one of the universities is for in-state North Carolina residents, the tuition is $500, and for out-of-state is $25. The way it was explained is that the government is subsidizing funding to the college. So the college is not losing anything. And in turn, the college is giving that they're getting from the government back to the students. It seems like it was a way to bring more students into these particular universities that are in competition with the largest schools in North Carolina. But it just almost seems too good to be true.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that. And we just came back from visiting 3 schools in North Carolina, but I've not heard of that Promise program.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was something they were doing at one point and maybe they might not be doing it anymore. Maybe it was a pilot kind of thing. And
No,
may
they
be
did. They
taking it
just
off
took on more because
Oh,
I
okay.
know, I think I know there was like the smaller schools, the smaller HBCUs in North Carolina. Fayetteville just started it, and they
Oh,
say there's
okay.
more universities that's taking this program on.
Oh, awesome. So Ms. Britt is saying Elizabeth City State has that program. So some of the
Yes.
really small, probably private colleges in North Carolina have that program, which is called, she's saying, the Promise program. So
Mhm.
that's something that everyone can kind of look up if you are interested in any colleges in the North Carolina. Look that up. because that could be a benefit to you if you had any of these particular smaller colleges from North Carolina on your list. Ms. Britt is also saying Norfolk State as well is also in.
Right, I
has
don't think it's
adapted
just
to-
North Carolina.
So Promise program at Norfolk, Elizabeth City, Fayetteville, check out those schools. If you're looking for somewhere, or if you had those schools on your list, you want to make sure you check out those schools. And I'll definitely look into the program as well to just kind of get more knowledge and information about it, just to see where they're landing at with that program and what schools are actually participating in it. But yes, so that is something for everyone to look into for those schools, because all money is good money, especially
Yes,
if they're
it
giving
is.
away free money. So I'm going to let my student Taylor share briefly. She's calling in. Of course, it wouldn't let her get in on the Zoom, but she's going to share on speaker, and I'm going to remove the headphones so she can share so that you guys can hear her. Can you guys hear us clear? Taylor, can you just say something so we can see if they can hear you?
Hello, Ms. Robinson, can you hear me?
Yeah, so can you guys hear Taylor?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Taylor, we have one student, and not sure how many other students, but we have one student specifically who is considering Howard in her top 3, but is a
Okay.
little deterred because she's heard so much, you know how the streets talk. She's heard so much
Yes.
street talk about Howard. So as you're sharing, I want you to kind of dispel some of the street stuff she's heard, to give her your
Okay.
experience, because you heard street stuff too, but you still got to experience it for yourself and realize that some of that stuff was just street talk.
Yes. So,
Taylor, your phone breaking up.
okay, hold on.
Okay, I can hear you
me
now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I would say so far my Howard experience is going really great. It's just a big family, big community. I'm actually at an event right now. There's always something going on every day. There's just so much positivity, and I've been enjoying my time so far. I definitely had my, second guesses on Howard just because of things you hear. But I would say if you think the school fits for you, I would definitely say don't listen to what others say, because that could ruin your decision on missing out something great. And I don't regret my choice in choosing Howard. And I would just say just follow your heart and let the rest lead. And I've been enjoying my time here so far.
Awesome. So Taylor, how was it for you? Because Taylor was with me from her junior year of high school.
Yes.
Taylor is the second sibling. So I have Taylor's sister who is older, which is Brianna. Brianna is also Brianna is also at Howard for her second year. She was a transfer student into Howard. And Brianna was the first one there, and Taylor went behind her to Howard. They are both a part of the College Transition Mentor Program. So they are both still my mentees. Bree is a junior, Taylor is a freshman at Howard. So Taylor, how has it been for you being able to be a part of the mentor program, have that access to go through this transition as a freshman? What has that been for you? Tay, can you hear us? She's in a bad area, y'all, so her phone dropped. But I hope that the young lady, oh, there she is again. Hold on. Okay, go ahead, Taylor. Yes, we can hear you. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, I did hear you. I'm so sorry. I'm having bad service.
No, you're good.
My experience with Miss Robinson, so of course I first started off with the whole college process with Miss Robinson, and she's been a great help. She's definitely helped me with, getting everything done as far as getting scholarships, getting the applications done. Sometimes with some schools, the process is a lot harder because I have you do extra essays, and Miss Robinson was there every step of the way. She revised my essays, and even when I felt like I wanted to give up, Miss Robinson was always there to help me. She was a great support and still is till this day. She always sends encouraging messages in the college transition program. She's always there when you have roommate problems. So it's not just academic situations, but if you're having a hard time with your professor, all you can do is call Ms. Robinson and she's there. She'll draft a whole email for you and your situation will be fixed. And she's just been a great help. I really love Ms. Robinson. She's like a second mom to me. She's really helped me with just the whole idea of college. And I'm just so glad that I was able to come to college and choose Howard. I'm not first generation. My parents went to college, but my dad didn't finish college. So that kind of motivated me to finish college and, you know, really lock down on my education. But if it wasn't for Ms. Robinson, I probably be here, or I'll probably still be struggling with the college process. It's a lot that goes into it that a lot of people don't know. And it's very challenging. So my advice would be to seniors or current juniors to just keep pushing, keep your grades up. Don't flip senior year, because that's a mistake everybody makes. And definitely keep faith. I know sometimes the college process can be scary, especially like wanting to get into your dream school, but I would just say, just keep faith, and whatever happens, and it's for the best.
Absolutely. So for the young lady who was considering Howard mom-ish, did she have any questions for Taylor while Taylor was on? Did she have any specific questions she wanted to ask her to dispel any myths that someone has, you know, said to her, or that will give her any more clear clarity around her, you know, opportunity to, you know, still consider whether Howard should be at the top of her list?
Okay. I think I do have a few questions, or at least 8 questions. But hi, I'm Sydney. I'm a senior at St. Mary's Rankin High School here in Southern Maryland. And thank you so much for the opportunity again for opening up this platform. This is definitely, you know, it's not the easiest for me to hear. You know, Spelman was my dream school for a little bit. But you know, sometimes we just gotta reroute. Maybe I'm not supposed to be there. Who knows? But
You're breaking up. What did you say?
so what major is Taylor?
Taylor. So this young
Can you hear me
lady,
now?
can you hear her, Taylor?
Yes, I can.
So her dream
What
school,
major?
yeah, first she said, yeah, but prior to that, she said her dream school was Spelman, which was yours too, which
Right.
you really wanted Spelman as well. And then instead of Spelman, you went ahead and chose Howard, but Spelman was at the top of your radar for wanting to go there.
Right.
So right now
Yes.
she is struggling because she really wants to choose Spelman, but Spelman, like for you, didn't give enough money. And so,
Right.
but Howard gave money, but she's also asking, so if you have anything to add to that, but she's also asking about what's your major at Howard?
Okay, so I major in journalism at Howard. That's under the School of Communications. Spelman was on the very top of my list, but what drove my decision to come to Howard was that Spelman did not have my major, so I didn't see the point of spending a lot of money in tuition, especially when, you know, Spelman didn't really give me a lot of money to go to a school that didn't have my major, which was something that I was really interested in. Howard does have the concentration of journalism. You know, drove my decision to come to Howard, but I would definitely say if that's your dream school and they have your major, I would definitely look into it. Even if they don't give you a lot of money, which is bound to happen, I would definitely try to search and apply for more scholarships outside of Spelman. So any scholarships you could get from your school. I know Ms. Robinson provides lists for scholarships. I would definitely apply for those.
Does that help, sweetie? So she's saying that if Spelman is really where you desire to be, then you got to put in that work and get them scholarships that's outside of Spelman, so that you can make that a possibility if that's where you are just determined that is going to be home for you. It's about putting in those scholarships and making sure you can equal those scholarships up to what it is that you need to do. And then knowing that you're committed to every year applying for scholarships and scholarships and scholarships so you can maintain paying for that particular school. Do you have any other final questions? Anyone else have any questions for Taylor before we let her drop off and go to her college event? This is what college life is about. You're juggling life. So she just came from scheduling her classes for next semester, now at an event, and probably back to her dorm to start studying and preparing for something else. So this, guys and students who are tuned in, this is what college life is like. It is a continuous movement, and you have to be willing to balance the movement.
Ms. Robinson, I will also say you can give the young lady my information if she has any more questions. Anybody else that's interested in Howard, like, I would love to answer any questions anybody has. I know we're doing tours right now, so I would definitely tour the school if you can. But yes, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. because, I know I was a senior, just last year, and I know like the questions, and I had so many questions about Howard and about other schools. So I want to be that person for you guys. If you guys have any questions, so please let me know.
Awesome. So I will pass on your information to her, Taylor, if she wants it, and I'll make sure I'll send you a message if I send it to her to let you know I sent it to her, so that you can be on the lookout for it. But thank you so much, Taylor, for jumping on tonight, sweetie. Good luck. We'll talk soon.
No problem.
All righty.
Thank you so much, Ms. Robinson.
You're welcome. Love you
Good luck
back.
to everybody.
Bye-bye. All right. So again, if you want her contact information, just reach out to me, send me an email. I will forward you her contact information so that you can connect with her. Students, parents, here's the deal. My final thoughts. If no one else has any questions, please, you can come off mute and ask any questions you might have. If you're not connected with us on social media, follow us on social media. We share college bound tips. The month of May and June will be dedicated to graduating seniors, to making sure you have everything you need to go off to making the final decision, to preparing to go off to college. Stay connected to us in the month of, I think it's going to be June or July that I'm going to do it. I'm going to put together a panel of college students and college students from different colleges on a panel to come on and do a Zoom for seniors who are going off to college, so you can get the true ins and outs of the college experience, so that you are ready, so that you are prepared for what's to come. And so we are going to do that. I'm thinking June or July, so that you can have that resource and that you can have that opportunity. If you're interested in your child being in a college transition program, the mentor program, I would love to have them. I would love to support them in thriving. Taylor is one of my shining stars, love her to death. I take her to events with me so that I can expose her to the world beyond her college campus and other things, because she's a communication major in journalism. And so I try and pour into my students only what I wish someone had poured into me, and had someone had been doing this. Only wish I had a mentor was when I was in college. Maybe I wouldn't have flunked out freshman year. Maybe it wouldn't have taken me 9 years to get my undergraduate degree. But I tell students all the time, it's not how you start, but it's truly how you finish. Because now I can say I have a master's degree from one of the most prestigious colleges here in the Washington, D.C. area, and I only paid $500 for it. So guess what? From a $60,000 a year master's program. So what I know for sure is opportunities are not given, you create them. And my goal as a mentor to all my students is to help them create the best opportunities that's going to position them to not just survive, but to thrive at whatever college they decide to choose and call home for the next 4 years. So to every graduating senior, if we never connect or cross paths again for any reason that might be, congratulations, you have made it this far. You are only one step away from walking across the stage, from getting all dressed up in your prom dresses, and most importantly, from making the first biggest decision of your life, and that is choosing National Signing Day on May 1st. So if we don't have any other final questions, thank you so much for tuning into this masterclass. And until next time, continue being amazing, continue to stay connected to us, and continue to keep doing your best, students, because again, you determine your future, and your future will be as bright as you decide for it to be. And so do we have any final questions? Oh, someone said, any other way to fight other than appealing for not getting accepted when my son has a 4.5 and his friend with lower GPAs get accepted with similar other requirements? This school doesn't allow appeals. If they don't allow appeals, there is no other way. But here's what you have to look at. That child might be going into a program major that requires a GPA that is not as high as the major that your child was applying to, that could have been a more rigorous and competitive major, and other people took the spot over him. So it's not that he's not a great scholar. It just means that they maybe had 30 spots to take for that major, and 30 spots was already filled, depending on when he applied, and also depending on who came in with higher GPAs. And so that could just literally be what it is. Doesn't mean that young man is better than him in any other way. It just means that they're going into two different majors possibly. And that's why he got in and your child did not get in, because his major is less rigorous and your child's major is rigorous. And then it was competitive to fight for spots in that major at that institution. I mean, that university or college. That's the only reason that could be, and that could be a possibility. So please don't take it personal, but if they're a non-appeal school, it's nothing you can do. Any other final questions? That was in the chat. Thank you, thank you. If you're still here and you got something that you needed before you got on here, please just put a 1 in the chat so I know I did my part, and then I can get off and be like, okay, whoa, I gave them something they needed. So if you got something you needed tonight, something you learned new, something that you're going to use now to help you in making your decision, it gave you some insight, it gave you some movement of what you need to do next, please by all means drop a 1 in the chat. And if you are still unsure of how to make your final decision, you can go to our website and you can book what we call make a decision session. And I will get on with you and your student, go over all of your pros and cons in your award letters, and we will do that together. And also, if you are looking for support and mentorship for your students, I promise you, I would love to become their mentor. Meet us inside the College Transition Mentor Program. We do take a limited amount of students, so if you're interested, definitely jump on it. If you have additional questions after going to the website, don't hesitate to reach out. And again, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's masterclass. Continue to be blessed. And again, to the class of 2023, congratulations and good luck.